think fans will be excited to hear from this guy. It's the head coach of the Nittany Lions, James Franklin.
I like the bow tie. It's a nice touch. What's up, guy? How you doing?
How you doing?
Good, guy.
Coach, how about this support on signing day? Can you believe
it's
this
pretty
crowd?
good. I'm a little disappointed. Our team meetings aren't usually like this. I'd love to have everybody cheering and hollering, but can't tell you how much we appreciate everybody coming out and supporting us today.
Well, how's the day going? How's the day going today?
It's gone good. You know, we've been fortunate over you know, the 5 years that I've been a head coach and obviously the last couple years at Penn State. We haven't had a whole lot of surprises. Our process with the parents and the recruits and the high school coaches, we're just very honest and we're transparent. We got so many wonderful things to sell at Penn State. We don't need to get into all the other stuff. You know, we just talk about Penn State's history, traditions, the academics. We don't pressure kids to commit. We just sell all the wonderful things that Penn State has to offer. So for the most part, we don't have a whole lot of drama. The last probably month is probably as much drama as we've had in a long time. But it's been great. The families have been unbelievable. The players have been unbelievable. And just excited about the next step we have here at Penn State.
We just saw a video that showcased the community service that your program does and Penn State athletics in general. How important is it to find the right fit with a well-rounded individual?
Well, I think it's so important. I mean, I think as we all know and we all take so much pride in, is Penn State's about having it all. It's not about just football. It's not just about academics. It's about getting a world-class education and always will be. You know, I take pictures and every picture I take is with the number one up. Well, that's number one in graduation rates and soon to be football. You know, but we want it all. We want our guys to have a positive impact in the community and make a difference in people's lives. We want those guys to do great in the classroom because Penn State, you know, a lot of schools focus on the NFL. They're constantly selling the NFL, and we do very little talking about that because the NFL stands for not for long. Penn State's about making sure our guys leave here as educated men and prepared for life. And I think we're doing a great job of that. So, you know, we want to make sure that they're the right type of kids from the right families, you know, from the right high school programs. And when you do that, over time, you're going to have a lot of success.
Today's a culmination of a ton of work by you and your staff, but it starts with relationships. How do you go about cultivating those relationships to get to this point?
Well, you think about it, this is probably truly our second class. You know, that first year when we got the job, we got hired, you know, in the middle of January, and it was a scramble. Last year and this year, we were able to develop relationships for at least a year and a half, sometimes 2 years, with the high school coaches, with the parents, with the prospects, answer all the questions, show them everything that we have to offer, and show them our heart, you know, who we truly are as people and how much we care about their success. And when you do that, you have a chance to be successful. You got a chance to be successful on the football field. You got a chance to be successful in recruiting, and then in the classroom as well. You know, so I think that's what our staff does a really good job of doing is showing these kids how much we truly care about them as people more than just as players.
Obviously, the process to develop a great football team and in recruiting, the process never ends. But when you get to a day like today, how exciting is that for the staff to see the hard work pay off?
Well, it's exciting, and what everybody has to focus on is the ones that we got, because they're the ones that matter. And we got great ones here. When you go out and you're able to recruit the number one running back in the country, you're able to go out and recruit what I would make the argument as one of the top offensive line recruiting classes in the country, and really all the guys. I don't really want to point out, you know, specifics, but just the whole class overall. They've done a great job. The whole coaching staff has. So today's exciting because it's another step towards our future and where we want to go. It's really not over. There's still some guys that could be making some decisions as well, but it's been a whirlwind. It really has. You know, you think about all the planes, trains, and automobiles we've been in. You know, I think hiring Coach Moorhead, who's from Western PA, is I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the high school, so I probably won't, but it's from Western PA. Coach Limegrover, who's also from Western PA. If you guys don't know, it's kind of interesting. Coach Limegrover and Coach Moorhead went to the same high school and went to the same elementary school as well. You know, so I think having two guys that have tremendous experience, both as coordinators and one as a head coach, and they're from Western PA coming back, I think is going to be really helpful for us. And then obviously, hiring Coach Banks, who's been a defensive coordinator in the Big Ten for 5 years, and I've known him for over 10 years. His wife is one of my daughter's godmothers. So those relationships are so important.
When you look at the offensive side of the ball, eight guys signed so far. Where did you bolster your depth on the offensive line, and how do you feel about that group?
Well, you just answered the question. Where did you bolster your depth on the offensive line? As you guys know, when we got the job, we only had 9 scholarship offensive linemen in the program. Most Division I programs have 15. We only had 1 scholarship offensive tackle in the senior, junior, and sophomore class. You should probably have about 7. So we were way behind in that area. So we made it a priority this year to go out and attack that, and we did a great job. I think the 4 guys that we're bringing in create a lot of flexibility. They're guys that have the body types that can play a lot of different positions. They have the intelligence, and they got the athletic ability. You look at how they've not only made plays on the offensive line for their high school, but most of them on the defensive line, and Michael Mena, even at tight end, scored a bunch of touchdowns. So, that was an important piece of the puzzle for us, and I think we handled that. We went out and attacked that situation and solved their issue.
You mentioned that you want to see improvement on special teams. How can this class impact special teams?
Yeah, I would say, probably over the last 2 years, you could make the argument about 4 games. I think, could have went in our direction if we could have been a little bit more consistent on special teams. Again, when we got the job, we did not have a recruited scholarship punter, kicker, and snapper in the program, except for our boy Sam Ficken, who I just saw yesterday in Coach Huff's office. But besides him, we had nobody else in the program, and he graduated. So going out and identifying 2 guys that we're really excited about in Barbier and Gillikin, 2 guys that we go all the way down to Georgia who train together, live about 45 minutes apart from each other. You guys get a chance to watch their video. They're exciting guys. Blake Gillikin in the state championship game, I think, kicked a 56-yard field goal, had like 8 punts inside the 10-yard line, had an onside kick in the game, for them to win the state championship. Really had a huge impact. And as we all know, punting, if you're going to be able to swing the field and change field position, is something that's going to be really important for us. We got guys in the program that we're excited about, but those guys being able to come in and compete is going to be really valuable for us.
7 guys in the D-line. How has that area gotten better?
Yeah, D-line has been a strength of ours. When we arrived in State College, that was a position that we felt, really good about, and that's why we've been able to play good defense, because it starts up front. So being able to try to replace the guys that we were graduating. We have 4 guys graduating this year in Barney and Nassib and Zettel and AJ. And those guys are going to be hard to replace. I was talking, Matt McGloin being here today to spend some time with us this morning. I'd make the argument, him and Carl Nassib may be the 2 better stories in college football, guys that came in here as walk-ons and earned an opportunity to have an impact. So, the guys that we recruited, we feel really good about. Some of those guys are going to have to factor in as freshmen or junior college guys. They're going to have to factor in right away. We have no choice. But we're also excited about the guys that are developing in our program right now.
4 guys are already on campus. A couple of guys are a few months away yet. What's it take when you get to campus to become a Penn State football player and make an impact there?
Well, it's a huge transition. My alarm went off yesterday morning at 4:30 a.m. We had workouts yesterday morning at 5:30 with the new guys. The 4 new guys that just showed up on campus, it's kind of a shock to their system, because for the last a year they've been patted on the back and told how wonderful they are through the whole recruiting process. And then they show up at 5:30 in the morning, and Coach Chaos is going berserk at them. And they're running all over the place and trying to adjust. It's a huge transition. I mean, you think about, for all of us that went to college, when your mom dropped you off for college and you had to go from being a high school student to college, you typically had the summer to adjust and get used to it. And these guys basically go from being a high school student on a Wednesday to a college student on a Monday. And it's a dramatic change for them. But they're doing great. Luckily for us, we got a bunch of veterans that take those guys under their wing and teach them what it means to be a Penn State football player.
When you look at the footprint in terms of geography of recruiting around Penn State, why is this such a great place in terms of how much talent is within a 350-mile radius?
Well, I think it depends on how you look at it. If you look at Florida, Texas, and California, which are considered, Georgia would be the next one, be considered to be the top producing Division I states in the country. If you think about it, most of those states will have about 250 to 350 Division I players a year. In the state of Pennsylvania, we'll probably have around 35. So what you want to try to do is we look at it as this region, this footprint. So if you look historically, Penn State's done a great job in Pennsylvania. They've done a great job in New Jersey and Maryland, and we want to continue to do that. And really 5 hours from campus. When we came here, we wanted to take more of a national approach, but what we found is Penn State's not very easy to get in and out of at times. So being able to do a great job. Yeah, right? And that was something that we just kind of had to address and understand. And what people don't realize, it's not always getting the recruits here. It's also efficiently being able to get our coaches out. So that's something that we had to kind of look at a little bit more, in more depth. But if you could do a great job within 6 hours of this campus, you could consider it like a California and Florida and Texas. And with our history and traditions and our academic reputation, we think we're going to be, someone to compete with for a very long time.
Now that you go into year 3, where are you at in developing relationships with coaches, with parents, with different people across the state or throughout that footprint as a staff?
Well, I think one of the things that's fortunate is, I went to a little small school in Pennsylvania, state school called East Stroudsburg. All my buddies are high school coaches kind of throughout the state. You look at my staff is regionally specific. That's one of the big reasons, we came here. It was a tremendous opportunity, but it also was a great fit for our staff. Coach Pry was born and raised in Altoona. Coach Limegrover and Coach Moorhead, I already said, we're from Pittsburgh. You look through our entire staff. Coach Spencer went to school here in the state, as well. Obviously, Coach Smith is a Penn State grad, and we were able to bring him back home, part of the family. So that's important. Those connections, those relationships, that trust is really important. So you can pick up the phone and call and not try to earn their trust over time. You've already developed it over a period of time.
Before we let you go, we have to ask you, what was this day like when you signed as a 4-star prospect at East Stroudsburg as a quarterback?
Yeah. The thing that's amazing is I committed to East Stroudsburg, and I thought I was going to the NFL. I say all the time, you look at U.S. News and World Report rankings, it's Princeton, it's Harvard, it's Penn State, it's East Stroudsburg, then Yale and some of those other schools. But yeah, I say it all the time, to be the head football coach at Penn State is an unbelievable blessing, which I don't take lightly. To grow up in the state of Pennsylvania, to play at East Stroudsburg, and to run out in that stadium in front of 107,000 people as the head football coach is an unbelievable, overwhelming experience. And our players and our coaches don't take that for granted. We know how important this team is to our community and to our school and to our university. And we're working so hard to make sure that we can put a team out there on the field, in the community and in the classroom that's going to represent us the right way and make everybody really proud for years to come.
Well, Coach, congratulations on today. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to the crowd. Thanks for joining us on GoPCSports.com and Signing Day stream. We'll have plenty more coverage on the website throughout the week.